Are you tired of struggling in your marketing? Listen to Indegenius to show you how to market it. Listen closely to this tutorial you're about to see, then hit the button below to contact me.
Yes, today everybody, it's your old man Rasaw, the Mom MFA, otherwise known as Indegenius. My youth told me that he wants a new shirt, Flaming Skull. Let's get to it. Flaming Skull. Alright, so I personally ain't really into human skulls, so we're gonna have to freak this one. And I want to show y'all real quick how to do stuff without yeah, perfect. Oh, the break. Let's two. So that's not really that clean. That's kind of clean. Let's go with that. Doesn't give be anybody's skull. You do. Get that image. Drop it in the trusty old photo shizo. And convert it to a smart object. Right click, convert to smart object. That way you can transition the sizes of it and it will not break down your quality as much. Now I need some fire. I need some fire. Give me some fire. Fire. I feel like I'm gonna need a lot for this particular thing, so I'm gonna need a big image. That's looking pretty good. Let's take that. Jump in a trusty old Photoshop. Convert that to a smart image, smart object. And now I'm gonna show you guys how to get freaky with it. What you do is go back here and look for Lion Roar. Right? Because that's what we actually gonna be making. Right? So now find the one that matches what you already got. That's looking pretty raw. That's looking pretty raw. It's a little bit small. What's that about? It's not too bad. And the hair is kind of flamey. I'm looking at that one strongly. That one I'm looking at strongly. It's kind of small. I want to take forever doing this. I'm gonna go back. Oh, they made it easy for me. Nah, it's small. Let's keep going. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. I want the whole head. The whole head. Let's take that one we saw. I'm tired of looking. Do that image. Copy that. It's kind of a shaggy line, but I think it'll work. And Control V there. Convert him to a smart object. Alright, now what we're gonna do, first of all, is we're gonna cut this escape real quick. We're gonna bring this one to the front so I can see the trajectory. Now I'm gonna highlight this one again, rotate it slightly till the jaw is on about the same trajectory. That's looking good. Now I can shut this one off, turn the layer eye off, shut that one off, and go here again. I'm gonna shut that background off for just a second. I'm going to jump into this document by double clicking it. It's going to open it in a separate document because it's a smart object. Now this is going to be a really easy cut. One way I could do it is go into the channels, look for that. Oh, that's so easy. That's the way I'm going to do it. Go there. Now I just need to Control L, which is bringing up the levels. I'm going to push out the white. Everything that's that high contrasty line is going to push out. Now I'm going to bring up the black, and all of that background is pretty much disappearing. All I'm really doing with this is separating white from black, and Photoshop is going to tell the difference of the rest. I'm on black there. I'm going to put the right bracket to make my brush bigger. color all this in, make sure it's black. Black, very black in there. It's going to choose what to keep and what to leave based on the black and white. So I'm going through and getting rid of all of the background that I don't want. And in this case, I don't really want this part of his body. I just want his head. So I'm going to get rid of that as well. And luckily for me, the contrast in his body really stood out. Now, all I got to do is finish coloring this in. Make sure that I'm taking all of this white. Let my machine catch up a little bit. Got so many programs open here. And then we are going to, as soon as it catches up, color all this back in white. And it should be ready for a selection. And so all I have to do now is eventually, when my machine wants to work with me, is color in this whole section is all white. I know you guys are looking at it like, is he erasing it? No, I'm just cutting it out. So I'm gonna make that brush bigger so it takes less time. I can just cover all this interior ground because this is the part I want to keep, so I make it all the same color. I really need to clean my screen. That's ridiculous. Then I drop it, drag it on the channels palette to the selection wheel, and it will select the white separate from the black, which is what I want in this case. I want to keep the white in this case because the white was the interior, just the lion's head. I'm gonna go and look for refine edge by hitting the marquee, going up to refine edge. Now I got pretty much just a lion's head. That's pretty good. I'm gonna go with that. Now that's masked out, and I've got my full shape that I was looking for. Actually, I could double that up because I've lost some in here that I wanted, but actually I could just paint it back in. I'll show you guys that. You grab your brush and highlight your mask, and white will bring it back. Make that a little bit smaller. Bring all of that back. A little smaller still. Bring that back. Bring that part of the head back. That part I can do without. And I'm going to make it smaller still so I can trail off some hairs off of that. And all I'm doing, I'm not actually drawing those hairs. I'm bringing information back. I'm painting it back in. But I'm doing it hairy, one little line at a time, so it matches the rest. It's called art. And then I can save that. Close it, and you'll see it's updated here now. Show y'all some funky. Since I got it as a smart object, first of all, I can drag it large. Whoop. See? You want to be on the corner, hit Shift and Alt at the same time so it doesn't distort your image, and bring it large. Then I'm going to hit Enter. And it has updated my smart object to the side I want. You can see that it has degraded the image. It's way more pixely than it was, but not nearly as it would be if it hadn't been a smart object. I'm going to now jump over to this document, go into it. These documents are open at the same time and actually included inside of each other, but this one will be very easy also to separate. Control L again. This one should be really fast. Just take the eyedropper and hit in the black. Take the eyedropper and hit in the darkest part of what you want to keep, that's white. And then you probably will have to do it again with the black to get rid of that. Let's hit the Alt button and reset and do it again manually. It didn't find it very well. So just go with the white dragger, bring it all the way in, take the black and go the other direction. And since you got to kind of be able to see a little bit better, keep dragging. Now bring it the other direction. In this particular case, I had to bring it back out because there's a whole lot of little schmutz nearby to the object. It's making it a little bit difficult, so I'm going to darken it manually, and then the gamma manually, the middle, and then slide it out again. And while I can see what I'm doing, I'm going to stop messing with that. I'm going to go to my brush, hit D so it switches to the default brushes, swell it up some, color all this part in that I don't think I'm keeping that. See, that's why you gotta check what you're keeping and what you're not kind of ahead of time. And the way to make sure of what you're doing, I will show you in 1 second. You color it all in that you want to keep. By keeping your brush not too big, you make it easy for you to get in all the nooks and cranny spaces. And you can always make the brush bigger if you need to. And once you've got it all colored in, then you go and turn on the top layer, and it'll show if you're inside or outside. Yes, I did not want those two blacks. I did want this. I do. I do want this. Any little spot of red that's in here, that's stuff that I do want. Now is the time to color it back in. This is going to be a vicious piece, and then I drop it in here, separate it, turn that back off so I can see what I'm doing. Control Shift, go to layers. I am keeping the white. I'm going to hit the marquee, refine my edge, and check it out. Looks good. Hit OK. And actually, let me refine that. Control Alt Z and refine the edge again. I'm going to pull that radius out because I don't want it to cut into some of the parts that I didn't cut as well. I'm going to pull that expansion out. And see, it's still nice and smooth. And what I actually do in this case, so I want to pull the contrast up because I want my edges sharper. That's good. And then I'm gonna mask that. I noticed there's a whole lot of schmutz here at the top of the screen, so I'm gonna switch that to the black brush and get rid of it. So now that jazz is gone, and while I'm here, I'm going to make a path out of that because it was just offering me that for some reason. Let's go here. Control, click inside the mask to highlight, go to paths. Draw a path by pressing that button that looks like extrudes in opposite directions. Then you go Control S again, right? Now, you might not have noticed it knocked out that background in the original image, and I can drag that path over at some time in the future if I need that. Control T, and I'm pretty much gonna just match the teeth, Shift and Alt at the same time, swell it up. It's about the same size teeth. Maybe I could just get nose to nose. It's about where the nose would be. And I can make those teeth, make it a little bit bigger so the teeth cavity is about the same. Escape, enter. Wow, now it's going to be vicious. We're going to keep going with the second area. This one here, let's open that up. Play with these flames. Again, with flames, it's not that hard. Red, pretty good. And for me, I a lot of times will add the levels in, but not that much, right? Like I'll just blacken it to make sure the black part is black. Maybe even a little forced out, so I kill a little bit of that gray, but most of it I keep. And I'll force up the white to make sure I'm keeping a lot of that interior area. Now the gray stuff is going to be slightly transparent, so let's go ahead and do that. Drag that layer. Oh, look what I did, my friends. Control-Alt-Z. You cannot do that. If you change one of these original channels, you will lose the color of your image. You must make a copy of the channel that you are going to use for an extraction. Okay, so let me do this little extraction again real quickly and force up my white a little bit, and okay, and now I can drag that channel to the highlighter, outliner, go here to layers, put it into the marquee tool so I can check my refine edge. That is looking really good. Okay, then I can re-highlight layer 2, mask that, and it gives me a crazy tight mask. Now I'm going to save this. Now that I've saved it, I can see I actually picked kind of a strange piece of fire, and the only part I'm actually going to use is this part right in the middle. So when I blow it up, I am going to be looking to match the fire in right place. Now, how do I do that? First, I think I'll line it up at this corner, and then I'm holding the shift key and I'm getting bigger. Hitting Control-0 puts it all on the screen. And what I'm doing with this particular piece is I am trying to cover this lion completely with the fire. Control-0 again, and keep bringing those points back on the screen so I can get to them. There. Or I can use the hand and move it down. Probably Control-0 is going to make it easier. And then blow it up more. Okay? And I got to cover the entire lion's head, because what I am about to do is use that lion's head. Now, it's going to be slightly distorted because I've blown it up so much. We're going to take care of that in a second. But as soon as this all catches up, you'll be able to get my point. Now, let me give me first what my son actually, what I'm going to do is control click the lion's head. That's going to bring the shape of the lion. I'm going to the fire layer now, and I'm going to mask it. So what do I get? Fire main. And I can turn on that steel jaw and bring it to the top. Now I've got a main and fire jaws. So how can I make it even more hotter? I could potentially go back, let's see, to that channel only. Let's see, turn those off, go to this channel, pick one, I'm going to pick one with more contrast. I'll duplicate it. Control A, highlights the whole thing. Control C, layers. Go here and Control V will drop that whole thing in there. Then I can go down to the original, highlight it, the new layer, and mask it out. Okay. Now I can bring back what I was doing, making sure that that's on the top. Now this one is just above that, and I can start playing with my blend modes. What's eventually going to have to happen with this one is we straighten out the bottom by cutting the main a little more. So let's go down these blend modes. Let's see what's going on here. Starting with color burn, that's a little too much. This is all going to be a little too much now that I'm looking at it. I'm going to go with that for a second and then pull the fill out of there. What doing? They're doing. Let's bring that fill back up so I can see well. There you go. Alright. Vivid light is incorrect. Darken. I'm just gonna go through these that one's looking kind of what I like. Screen and Irma. That one's kind of it. And something very fiery but very liony too. So let's go with that for now. Go to here, go to filter, smart object. We're gonna sharpen this until it kind of matches that line. A lot of times I have to shrink this down to 33% so I can see. Sometimes it takes a long time to catch up for me to be able to see what's going on exactly. Yeah, it's punching out now. Let's punch it up more, way up. Yeah, that's good. But I want to take away the gauzy. I was right with the lens before. Let's go to shadows. Bring up the tonal width. Actually, let's see, we'll bring down the tonal width. A lot of these you have to test it and see what you're looking for. This, I'm trying to make it more rigid so that the contrast is high against that flames. We'll wait for it to catch up. And what happens is that while it's catching up, the opportunity for you to think about your pieces here. So basically these two pieces need to get blended together just a little bit. This bottom edge needs to get more fiery. And I'm thinking that I may need to put the fire layer back on top of that lion layer again. So once this is finishing, just to define, actually it might go over the whole thing, just to define flames better for the whole situation. So eventually that's going to get through, and then I will add those second. And now that that has filled in, blowing it up a little bit so I can see a little closer. I could blow up way more, of course, but there's no need. Let's go back down to the flames like we said. I will go to the channel for the flame. when you want to do this, you have to turn some stuff off so that you can see when you are on the right channel. Now that's my green, that's my red. I think green is what I'm looking for. See the blue? Yeah, we'll go with green this time. Because Control A, Control C, that is the pattern that I need. So now I've got this, I can turn that back on, right? And I can turn this back on and hopefully figure out how to get rid of that schmutz. I'm going to add a new layer, paste that piece in there, go down, highlight the part that I need to mask. Take it back and mask this area. And now it's all about the blend mode for that. Make sure that your mask stays on a normal blend mode. And now we can go through here and figure out how to really blend in that flame. It's giving us some good options. That's the best one, but my color's not there anymore. Go with that for now. And now let's see what I can do to really enhance that color. Actually, let's do that over again by duplicating that layer and take that up, turn this off. And let's blend that in. That's looking much better. I had killed the color before, it was making it difficult. I'd have had a color match again. That's somewhat strong. That's pretty strong right there. Let's keep going. That's pretty strong. That's pretty ultra strong. Great. Overlay works for this particular piece. And now all I gotta do is jump to here, get the mask back on that, and I can get rid of this strange line that's here at the bottom. Sometimes things start to go crazy when your file gets too large, so you have to do it manually. And we'll go here and get rid of that real quick. And then, since that's pumping real hard, what we're gonna do is paint out that bottom part of the head. So I'll turn this off again for a second, turn that off again for a second. I'll go here, turn that off for a second, then I'll come here and I need to be on the brush tool, a small brush tool, and I will just kind of eliminate areas. So we continued on. I continued to just drop in these little brush strokes here. I also shrank the skull just slightly, excuse me, and I want to convert that skull into a smart object so that it'll be easier to move around and do anything further that I need to, so that the mask and the smart filter get contained into a smart object in and of its own. And then after that decides to do what it's doing, I will go and continue to match the mask, starting with the first mask that I drew the brush strokes in. Then I'll go here and Control Shift I, paint it in with black, Alt Delete. So that mask is painted in. Highlight the new mask, Alt Delete. That mask is painted in. And here, Alt Delete, that mask is painted in. Ah, must be there. And Alt Delete, that mask is painted in. Then I can deselect that. This area could use a little more, but I'll wait a second on that. Just need to look at it. It's looking pretty flamey. And you still see the lion in there. It's got a definite lion outline, but the flames, there's stuff missing up in this area. So I'm going to change that brush back to a normal brush. Brushes take time to load. I got a lot of brushes. You can go all over the internet and just download brushes. So start with that. And what I am doing is on this layer with white as my brush color, I'm kind of just hunting around for where there's some good flames that I can bring back. Which is fine because I can always just undo it. Seems to be some flame up in this area. So what I probably should do is disable the layer mask, which is a pretty dope looking thing to do overall now. You know, it's all art, friends, so you just look at it and see how much of it you want to keep, how much of it you want to lose. So now let me just Control T the whole thing, bring it back on the screen, shrink it ever so slightly, see if I can get the two edges in. If those edges even exist anymore. See what happens real quick. Always make sure you have the right thing highlighted. So then we'll shrink that in just lightly, trying to bring really just this curve back into the screen. I could change the canvas size, but it's not quite as necessary. That was a little more of a shrink than I wanted. Let's bring it back. And good, it came back to real time, so that's about good. Enter. See, now we got flames. It's really flames. Wow, the transformations take a while, don't they? You betcha. And so now we are pretty much in there, right? We just need to clean up the edge. Being that this is a t-shirt design, we don't want any of it to cut off. So we're gonna first of all get rid of that layer mask altogether because we tossed it once. Now it's ready for a mask. So let's highlight this. And now that that's highlighted, we're gonna intersect it. Control Alt Shift to intersect, and we will see, but I think it's gonna cut off too much. Let's see. Yeah, that was too much. Control Z. So what we want to do, let's highlight just this, right? Then we go here, we draw our own layer mask, Control C, Control deselect. We draw a layer mask by hitting this button on there. Then we go here and highlight that, Control click. Then we go back to that layer, click on it, take the black brush and make it bigger. And this entire bottom we should just be able to paint with. What, you ain't disappearing? Not good. C. Now, all that came back. Let's see. Oh, I see. Control Shift I. Sorry. Control Shift I to flip back to the outside. That's the area we are able to paint now, and then we paint in the black, all of that. Probably want to make it a harder brush so that it really clears out what you don't want. Let's deselect and see, is it looking more flame-like now? It really is looking more flaming. From here, I think my desire is to just change the canvas size wider. I'm going to widen that to 15. Which brought back a lot. There again. That's highlighted. Activate that, Control Shift I, so I'm painting the excess and I get rid of the parts I don't need. Bring some of that back. Yeah. And I can actually get rid of this whole section. And I'm going to deselect so I can get a look at it. Yeah, that's looking like a t-shirt design. He didn't ask it for it to say anything exactly, so let's select the whole piece, Control T, let's see what we can do. So now we've brought that back on the screen, but I can notice that I want to do a little more Photoshop. I don't want this this piece. So I'll take my magnetic lasso, or my polyagonal lasso tool, bring it right along the edges I want to cut. Take it out to the edge, hoping that there's something out there for me to grab onto. And I'm going to hit Control J and copy that. And it should make a new layer. Then I'll highlight that, go back to my mask, and Alt Delete fill with black, which erases that piece from there. Now I have this one. I can hit V and move it around as I need to. What I need to do with it, Control T, is transform it and shift it and stick it in here so that I got some realistic tails to these flames. Control D select. And then I'll do the same for this piece, this piece, this piece, and this piece. And there you have it, friends. That's looking much more like a rugged t-shirt site, t-shirt design. So, yep. Let's take a look at it on a t-shirt. Well, wrong one. Save this as PNG. That's how I do mine. So I have an easy transferable copy. Many things go on here in our world, friends. And now you got a fresh flame lion in yours. Yeah. Yo. So I dropped it on black, and I noticed there's a few more things that this thing's going to need. First of all, this brush down here isn't working at all, and it didn't really cut that cleanly, and we're going to clean that up. And then the whole thing overall needs to be sharpened. So I'm going to transform the entire set into a smart object after I've cleaned up this edge, and then I'm going to go to filter, sharpen, smart sharpen. But this has been a great tutorial with you guys today. This is the general what it's looking like, and what you are going to be seeing is more great tutorials from me for rapshirts.org. Yeah, log on right now, get your t-shirt done. This is your old man Rasaw the Mom, MFA, otherwise known as Indegenius. Thanks.
If you've got any more questions on what you should do, hit the link below. Indegenius will get back to you. We can set up your business and get it all outsourced. Hit the link below and get my free report.